See, this is a plaid mode or performance mode Tesla Model 3. So you can see the badge right there. And this one has the new seats with the plaid design on the seats. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the exact same car. It's got like it's got a slightly new what is it called? Front air louver. But other than that, they haven't gotten one into test drive yet. So I'm not able to test drive it just yet. But as soon as they get one, we'll be able to drive it and see what it's like. So here I am. I just got back from Bali and Singapore this morning at 12 a.m. And I figured I'd, go out and get a couple of things done, grocery shopping. And I see that basically the charging stations filled with freaking Cadillacs and BZ4Xs. So yeah, it's like, I guess these EV Go credits, they must be giving these things out like crazy. And even on the opposite side, see, that's the thing. It's hard to get to that last charger. So you see that this person is charging, but they're sitting on the outside so that they can use the charger, because most people aren't willing to charge, out here where there's actually traffic. Most people really aren't willing to do that, except that guy was. So inmate decided that he wanted to start acting up. These BMWs, they just can't stand the fact that you might be out here with something faster. But that's okay. You stay in front. If there's any cops, you take the ticket. Hi. Where are we going? I think you might want to check your exhaust. I think there's something wrong with it. Sounds like popcorn popping. Don't try to run from me. Anyway. Man, I've only been back a day. That jet lag hasn't kicked in just yet. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning. I was ready to rock. Got right out. Was up this morning doing clothes and laundry and shit. Where's this asshole? Oh yeah, he's still there. Oh, hi! Hello. Bye. Yeah, I know that jet lag is going to hit me real hard. I'll worry about that later. All right, so I am at Americana Manhasset because Westbury Tesla told me that they were actually doing a Cybertruck test drive event. And usually Manhasset, because this is obviously what all rich people always are, they introduce everything to them first. So you see Lucid over there, they still getting their asses kicked. I don't think they have the gravity yet. But, yeah, so supposedly they're supposed to be allowing people to test drive the Cybertruck. And if that is true, I would like to take the Cybertruck out for a drive. If they do not have the Cybertruck and they have the Performance Model 3, I will settle for driving that instead. But supposedly they were doing a Cybertruck event like all week. And obviously I just got back this morning, so I wouldn't have been here for that. But yeah, come on. All right, come on. Yeah, you can go. Come on. Come on. I don't want to run you down. Come on. All right. So maybe they have it, maybe they don't. I'm not sure. Because the problem is, there's like 3 Teslas, and they pass shit around. Like one time, one people will have it. The next week, the other people have it, and then this chick's out here shopping. She got Bottega Veneta, and she got the nice shoes and everything. She's out here shopping. Like, people, like, I just don't understand. Like, but see, women, you can trick women into shopping like every single day. Like, that's all they do is like burn through money. Men,
Men don't do that. For the most part, men save their money. Or they waste it on trying to make slow cars faster. You know. Bad habit. Ooh, they got a black Cybertruck. Ooh, they got this Cybertruck. Cybertron. Yeah. Oh, shit, they got a couple of them. Yeah, okay. Okay. Got the black Cybertruck. Okay, okay, I guess this is the event. Okay. So, let's get in there and let's see if we can test drive a Cybertruck. To Cybertron! Wait. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna park in front of Brooks Brothers. Because they got these weird ass cutouts in the fucking ground. And I don't want people parking right next to me. Because these triangle cuts are weird. Alright, that should be good. Alright, that should be enough. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's get in there. Alright, so I'm test driving the Cybertruck. They have a person who's co-piloting, so you don't get to just take these things out by yourself. But I'll be test driving this Cybertruck right here.
Yeah, this is the route that you planned out.
Oh, okay. So they want you to drive by these people's houses? or do they want you to dodge these cars right here?
I don't know. I think more of just getting used to the turning, getting a feel for the turning.
Now, is full self driving activated or activatable on these things yet?
Not yet.
And
we're working on that currently.
How much option is it? How much is it? Like, is it the full 12 or 9?
Oh, it's 8 now.
Right or left?
Left.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's 8?
Yep.
Okay. For full self driving.
For full self driving, 8,000. We took away the enhanced autopilot option. You're gonna keep going straight.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it's not bad. The max range is like what, 350, 340?
I think it's 350. Yeah, this is 300 at 94, so 320 around.
Oh, okay. But there's no extended range model yet.
There's extended range. It's not ready to be installed yet. But you can purchase it. It'll give you an extra, it'll give you 405 miles. So another 200. Or 512, 20 miles, something like that. But it does take up quite a bit in the back. You're going to make a right.
I've heard that, but my thing is, what about, like, without having to take up the space in the back? Do they have...
No, not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay, so we come right back in here. Okay, all right. Not bad, not bad. Okay.
And then you can make a right where that car's going.
Yeah. Yeah, I showed my father this thing at Westbury, and he was like, oh, man, that thing looks like somebody's driving a tank at the end of the world and all that.
Nah, these things are fun to drive, though. We've delivered about 100 of them up in Mount Kisco.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a couple of them I was able to drive back and forth a little bit.
And these come standard heated cold seats, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's the biggest Tesla that there is. It's like the X is comfortable. It's just a little bit smaller if you need, you know, space you want to make the left, right? That steering is, yeah, that's the steering sensitivity. I know you can turn the rear wheel steering off, but I guess that just takes a little to get used to.
I found myself self-adjusting a lot my first time driving it. But after like the 4th or 5th time, I became a little used to it. You kind of know how to turn it, where you want to go, things like that. You'll get a lot of heads turning.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering when will be the day when the heads don't turn. Like, once enough of these things are on the road.
Yeah, or enough, or other car manufacturers start making something like this, which I don't think will happen. this is a very unique truck.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Oh, absolutely.
Nothing can compare to it.
Yeah.
And then like at a time like this, I think this is very useful.
Right.
Your front camera. And then if you swipe up, it'll show your rear. Pretty cool feature.
How many of these are being test driven? What is it, 3 of them?
2 of them.
2. Okay. Yeah, because I see those black ones that they got.
Those are all old.
Yeah, those black ones. The wrap, I guess that's a wrap. The wrap looks pretty good on those.
Mm-hmm. You can park right behind this truck right here.
But you know what I'll do? I'll pull up to the space because I don't want to get it off in these flowers.
Got it.
You know? So I'll just wait. I'll just wait for
Yeah,
it.
it's
So.
not a problem. You leave something in here?
Me?
Is this his?
That's not mine. That might have been that guy. Yeah. Glass case? Yeah. You got lucky. Well, I guess he must be coming with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they depart, if you don't mind taking a picture. Oh, look at this guy. That's one of those Performantes, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that V10 just doesn't sound like that V12. Yeah, it's cool, but that V10, it just doesn't have that same V12 attitude, though. When I was in Singapore, I saw a single red Aventador, and it was right-hand drive. I thought that was pretty interesting. But the Aventador is played out now. It's like it's all about the Revuelto now, and even the Revuelto's kind of boring. It's amazing with all of the 3D printing and stuff that you can't build your own car that looks, something like that. I'd make it bigger, but, And to think, if I had a Tesla Plaid, I could smoke this guy. Like, he couldn't even hope to race me. Freaking electric cars now.
coincidence. They sell those cars right here. Lamborghini, Long Island, right here. They actually sell the cars, like, right here. What do they got in here? Let's see. Anything good? Let's see. Oh, shit! They got the Revuelto! Oh, my God! They got the Revuelto! That's the Revuelto! Yeah, wonderful. Interesting. And what is this? I got a Ferrari. It's kind of played out. And what is it? Bentley, and they're trying to lease these things. What is this? $100,000 for a, what is that? I think that's that Bentley. And what is this? They want. Wait a minute. Does that say? I think that says $100,000 for. Wow, they only want $100,000 for that car. I guess they're just trying to sell it. Probably certified pre-owned. It's not easy to sell those damn cars because the depreciation's crazy, and then the upkeep on those things is crazy. The maintenance, insurance is nuts on those cars. Oh, $100,000. We got 2 cars. They must go. Oh, cool. Not bad. Yeah, it was hot all day today, so the rain just decided to come pouring down. Yeah. Oh, boy. 94 degrees all freaking day. Oh, it's an F-150 Lightning, huh? Oh man, I'm starting to feel that tiredness from jet lag, I guess, kicking in. This guy got the red Lyric, but he's got smaller wheels. Yeah, I know I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get some sleep. Only downside is, if you wake up early, because I tried to sleep on the plane, but at the most it was like I can only get like 1 hour's most or 2 hours worth of sleep. Obviously, because there's so much noise and shit. Freaking engine. Oh boy, yes, nasty out here. But you know what? Chances are this is gonna dry right up, and tomorrow's gonna be hot as hell again. But we're starting to enter the rainy season anyway, because this is August now. So yeah, we'll see. All right, so this is just a really, really quick, small video. There's 2 little pieces of news that basically have come out about the Dodge Charger electric vehicle. I'm not sure if anybody's actually really still following the development of this car, but supposedly, according to Robert S. Miller, this is August 1st, 2024, they're supposed to be revealing the EV exhaust sound that Dodge has put together for this car. So basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It says, in the evolving landscape of electric vehicles, Dodge is gearing up to make a significant announcement at the upcoming Roadkill Nights event. The automaker is set to unveil the final sound of the Fratsonic chambered exhaust technology on the all-new, all-electric Dodge Charger Daytona. This system is designed to bridge the gap between the beloved rumble of traditional muscle cars and the quiet operation of modern electric vehicles. So ultimately, it's kind of pretentious that they have to have fake exhaust sounds, but the reason why is because hybrids and electric vehicles are extremely quiet. So because there's blind people and there's people who can't hear these cars coming, they have to make sound by law. My car, for example, supposedly it has a hum that came from the sun. Like, supposedly what they did was they took like a gas spectrometer and they analyzed the frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum coming from the sun. And then what they did was they turned those frequencies into noise, like using a computer, and supposedly they simulated the sound of the sun. Other electric vehicles, like the Rolls-Royce Spectre, they use a sound that may sound like a ghost or what you would expect a ghost to sound like, but ghosts don't really exist. So what they had to do by law is they have to have a noise. So I guess they figured that the noise might as well sound like what a real muscle car would sound like. Now, obviously, muscle cars in general, they're basically a large engine put into a small vehicle. And because of that, you get vibration. So when you have a V8 in a vehicle that it really doesn't necessarily need to be in, you get a lot of vibration, you get a lot of noise. But that's going away. See, Stellantis is a Dutch company. They're a European company, and European companies hate American cars. Not only, and I'm trying to tell people, it's like they think that somehow that Stellantis is going to spin Dodge off and going to sell it. Well, supposedly, they're talking about selling it to the Chinese. They're talking about selling it to BYD. Now, we don't know if that'll actually happen, but I do believe that if Dodge was sold to the Chinese, I really believe that a lot of people who normally would buy a Dodge wouldn't want to buy it because now, they'd be insulted, oh yeah, your car is made in China, but you got to understand, the future of most of these vehicles, especially electric vehicles, the future really is made in China. And if it's not made in China, it's going to be made in India. So the reality is these cars, a lot of current cars, whether they're hybrids or they are electric vehicles, a lot of the parts and a lot of the raw materials are basically coming from China, and they may be final assembled in Mexico or final assembled in Canada, but the majority of these cars are ultimately going to end up coming from China, which is part of the reason why a while back I asked the question. I was like, well, can Donald Trump really put all these tariffs that he claims that he's going to put on China? Because I've heard some people argue, economists, that, protectionism doesn't work. And the reality is, now you saw that I just came back from Southeast Asia. I was in Singapore and I was in Bali. All over Singapore, all over Bali, all you saw was Chinese-made vehicles. I mean, yes, there were Toyotas, there were Hondas, but for the most part, most of those vehicles are Chinese. Sorry, I have a little cold. Most of those vehicles were Chinese made. And the reality was, I rode around in a lot of these different Chinese vehicles, mostly by like Wuling and MG. And I noticed that they really felt like cheaper versions of Toyotas. I don't know what their long-term reliability is, but the reality is, if you're dealing with economic problems, you may not have a choice as to whether you can afford something or not. So you may end up having to go with the thing that you can afford, even if it's from a company you don't like. For example, I have an uncle, and he has a Toyota Camry, like a 1992 Toyota Camry, and he hates having to drive in that car, but for the time being, he has to drive in that car, and he hates it. But the thing about it is the car's got over 200,000 miles on it, and it's still going. And the reality is, like here in New York, you see a lot of 92 and those model year. You see a lot of those Camrys. And if you can't afford the insurance rates on these new cars, or you can't afford the finance rates on these new cars, you may have no choice. I have friends who, they've been forced to drive cars that they really don't want to drive because they don't make a lot of money, or they don't make enough money to afford the rates and the insurance rates on these new cars. It is what it is. So they're saying that they're supposed to unveil the sound for this thing. I haven't heard it yet. I'll be out listening for roadkill nights, and I'll, maybe report back on it later. But the other thing that is worth talking about is the pricing for this car. All right, so this is the pricing for the 2024 Dodge Charger. And if you had guessed that this car was going to start close to $70,000, you weren't wrong. They're saying that the 2024 Charger is going to, as you can see, it says electric drive motors, FR offset, 1-speed gearbox, leatherette seats, global black. They're saying that this thing is supposed to have a black top package, sun and sound package, plus group, heated front seats, heated second row seats, blind spot, and cross path detection. So this is the basic model. And what I've noticed is Stellantis with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, I noticed Stellantis, to their credit, they did their best to put in a lot of basic features, specifically adaptive cruise control, basically got made a standard feature in the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Here's the problem, though. They want close to $70,000 for this thing, $68,570. Will there be a cheaper model? I really don't think so, but they're saying that this is supposed to be the R&T all-wheel drive. Now, could they go cheaper? Well, it's possible that they could go cheaper, but I really don't think they're going to. So let's assume that there is no markup on these things. But we all know there's probably going to be a dealer markup because the dealers right now are severely hurting. When you pass by these dealers, you see so many of these cars sitting there. And we all know that the reality is the interest rates are so high on cars right now that a lot of people can't afford to buy. And, people's pockets are hurting because they're spending so much money on everything else. See, this Bidenomics bullshit hasn't worked. That's why all these people getting excited about Kamala Harris. Yeah, there's a possibility she could win in November, but the reality is Kamala Harris still has to answer for the Biden-Harris economy. Now, she'll try to say, oh, well, I had nothing to do with it. It was all Biden. To which I would say, well, you've been in office next to Biden for, 3 years? What have you done? They wanted to say that she was in control of the border, but she stepped away from that. Oh, I wasn't a border czar. And I was like, wait a minute. I heard that you were the one who was supposed to be watching after the border. So if you haven't been doing that and you haven't been, making the economy better, then the question is, what have you been doing? So I can't come up with anything. So she's going to have to answer for that. Now, in fairness, I understand that the Federal Reserve is actually the ones responsible for setting interest rates where they are. And I also understand that by printing money, the government has put us into this situation with inflation. Now, I don't know exactly who to blame over insurance rates going up so high, but supposedly the insurance rates have been rising because they say that electric vehicles are to blame because they are more likely to do serious damage to other cars, and they also say their weight has put them in a different class almost, where they're more likely to total other vehicles, and they're also more likely to require expensive repairs. Now, as an electric vehicle owner, which allows me to actually speak about it with some authority, I understand that yes, these things do have a higher insurance rate, yes, they would be more expensive to repair, especially because these are brand new platforms, these are brand new vehicles with brand new parts. So these are basically all luxury vehicles. There's nothing cheap about them. And a lot of people are going to complain about these new prices, but the reality is, if you do vote for Kamala Harris and you do go with these leftist liberals, they're pushing this green agenda forward. They may have backed off on it now, but you already know once you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to want a glass of milk. These people are going to continue with the green agenda. They're going to absolutely continue with it. Now, me personally, I'm done with Dodge. I don't give a fuck. So if Stellantis goes bankrupt tonight, it doesn't make much of a difference to me, with the exception of me having to sell my Stellantis stock. I bought FCA a long time ago, so I got in when it was dirt cheap, and it changed to Stellantis. I got good returns off of it, plus it still paid a dividend. But right now, Stellantis' stock has hit, I think, the 52-week low, because obviously all of the automakers are hurting because they can't sell their cars to people who can't afford their cars or the insurance rates. So they've made a pretty big mess over here. Just a really big mess. Now, really quickly, the 2024 Scat Pack model is going to start at $82,170, right? That's its MSRP. So obviously that's the one that's going to have all of the actual stuff in it. That's the one that's going to have all the goodies. So as you can see, it says heated front seats, heated second row seats. It says wide body competition suspension, adaptive dampening suspension, blind spot cross path detection, brake calipers are going to be red. It says drive experience recorder, so that means it's going to have cameras in it that, record what you're doing. You probably have to have an SD card, or you probably have to have a USB drive so it can record stuff onto it, just like the Teslas. Let's see, what else? It says leatherette suede performance seat, so it's going to have the better version of the interior. Also, you see 1-speed gearbox, and it has 400-volt architecture. Now, people who don't have an electric car or haven't studied up on it really don't understand what 400 volts versus 800-volt architecture means, because supposedly they're supposed to come back with the SRT Banshee models, and those are supposed to have basically fully loaded. They're supposed to be 800-volt architecture. Well, basically, my car is a 400-volt architecture, and what it basically means is that there's a battery pack in there, and when you charge the car is charging that battery pack. But the 800-volt architecture is basically going to have a split battery pack, and when you charge the car, it charges both battery packs simultaneously. It also means that it means that there's a higher voltage main battery pack in the car. Now, the thing about it is the legacy technology, such as the window switches, the air conditioner, all that legacy technology that they share between cars, you don't need 800 volts to run that stuff. So the issue that the industry has right now is, how do you run the car with a very high voltage battery pack? And you have to also end up having a 12-volt battery pack in the car, just like the current cars do, because the legacy technology runs off of the 12-volt, while moving the car runs off of the high-voltage battery pack. So some of the newer electric vehicles that, have been made, especially like you keep hearing about BYD, the Chinese automaker, some of these newer cars, they are able to run everything off of the high voltage battery pack and still have multiple battery packs have an 800 or 900 volt system. And Elon Musk, for example, one thing I like about him is, even though he's an asshole and he's a troll, he actually published a book to give out to all of these dealerships well, I shouldn't say dealerships, but to give out to all of these other automakers to show them how to make 800-volt architecture and how to make it work. Because as you know, Tesla's really a software company that happens to make cars. They're also an energy storage company that happens to make cars. So they know about this stuff. They've been making these Teslas since 2010, 2011, 2012. That's when the Model S came out. They've been making these things for a long time. So they know how to do it. And they know how to do it inexpensively, and they also know how to do it safely. Bottom line is this. This car is going to start close to $70,000 when you factor... Well, basically, it's over $70,000 when you factor in tax. And it's going to quickly go up to the Scat Pack is $82,000. Now, compare that to today's prices. The starting price for one of these cars is somewhere around $40,000. And it quickly escalates, especially, if you get like a Hellcat, quickly goes to like close to $100,000 because they raised prices around 2021 after the pandemic. The Scat Packs are somewhere around 50,000 or 60,000 or something like that. The bottom line is the gas engine technology is cheaper. But here's the problem. The gas engine technology is going away. Now, I don't think they're going to get rid of gas engines entirely, but what they are doing is killing the V8. They don't want V8s anymore. They are force inducting everything because that's Europe's way, is putting freaking turbochargers and everything. Turbochargers have their place, but my problem is when you take a small engine and you make it work harder, you are shortening its lifespan. With the V8s, you have a large engine, and if it's a naturally aspirated V8, it's basically a large, inefficient engine. No matter how you slice it, it's inefficient. Based on ancient technology, but people want it because it stands out and it's different. Well, all of that's dead. So Dodge is killing the V8. They are killing the Hellcat. All that stuff is gone. They're not making those things anymore. Stellantis has fired the team, or they've gotten rid of, or dissolved, I should say. They've gotten rid of the team that would have been coming up with new V8 engine technology. It's not happening. And a lot of these YouTubers, I keep hearing them, oh, well, there's always a possibility. It's not coming back. The emissions standards, the regulations that have been passed, short of Donald Trump winning and rolling all of that stuff back, it's not going to happen. That stuff it's dead. If Kamala Harris wins, you can be sure that the green agenda is going to continue going in the exact direction it's going, regardless how much it costs you. They will make it so that you can't afford anything. They will make it, what did they say? You'll own nothing and you'll be happy? Well, yeah, chances are you won't be able to afford any of these cars. And it's funny for me, and I guess the last thing I'll say is I'm looking at these prices. These prices are actually considerably higher than Cadillac is selling my Lyriq for. The Lyriq starts around $59,000 or $60,000, and you can get the tech model Lyriq, which basically is bare bones. It's still a nice car, but it's bare bones. It has smaller everything, smaller wheels. It has a less interior flair. It has heated seats, but it only has a powered lumbar. It doesn't have like the massage seats and all that stuff. And it certainly doesn't have the cooled seats like my car has. But then when you option my car all the way up, the car still costs less than $80,000. So this car costs more starting at a base price than my car at a base model. And even when it's fully loaded, it costs more than my car for Scat Pack. So that means that the SRT Banshee model is easily going to be $100,000. Now, I feel bad for the Dodge enthusiasts who really, they're Dodge going to come out, they're going to beat Tesla, and it's not going to happen. I guarantee it's not going to happen. Tesla has that plaid mode. That thing used to be $150,000. Elon Musk dropped the price on those cars. Those cars cost less to start than $100,000. And because those cars depreciate relatively quickly, they could put you in a new 2024 Plaid, and they could do it with a discount, and you'd still be right around $100,000. This SRT Banshee thing is going to be slower than that Plaid, way more than the Plaid, and it's going to cost more. So basically, anybody who buys one of these things is buying it just to say that, yeah, I have a new Dodge electric vehicle. And the initial buyers are going to pay top dollar to get that thing just to get smoked by a Plaid model Tesla. And then there's also Lucid, who, as you know, Lucid Sapphire, I had to explain it to my dealer because my dealer, he has a Porsche. He loves his Porsche, but he thinks it's the fastest thing on sliced bread. And I'm like, yo, bro, you need to go drive a Tesla Plaid, because Tesla literally, with that Plaid mode, with the Plaid mode Model S, they're running low 9s or 8s right out of the dealer or right out of the gallery, whatever you want to call them. Then you got Lucid over there for $250,000. They're beating Bugatti Chirones dead in the quarter for $250,000. Now, this car costs $4 million and only has 2 seats. But meanwhile, you go buy this Lucid Sapphire, you got your whole family in there, and they can watch that Bugatti lose each and every run. So these electric cars, the bottom, whether you like electric or not, you can't beat them. You just can't beat them. Oh, well, I don't want to drive something that doesn't have a soul. Guess what, asshole? The cars are fucking plastic and metal. None of them have souls. Yeah, some of them have moving parts and they make sounds and stuff. But the bottom line is, you can enjoy those moving parts and sounds while you're watching the taillights of one of these fucking missiles that came out of Lucid, or one of these fucking missiles that came out of Tesla. So while you're watching taillights and yourself losing, those things take off so fast, it makes you feel like you're driving in reverse. So it's like, yeah, I understand electric vehicles, they have to work on weight because they're too heavy. They have to work on charging times because there's not enough chargers. They have to work on making all of the chargers have to be like 350 kilowatts or faster. So yeah, I understand there's a lot of downsides about the infancy of the electric vehicle, but the bottom line is these things are freaking missiles, and I know you don't like them, but it is what it is. And even if you don't like them, the simple fact is the cost of them is causing the insurance rates to rise on everything else. So wherein you used to be able to walk into a dealer and say, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to buy this Hellcat and I have shitty credit, so I'm going to buy this Hellcat for 72 months and it's going to cost me $1,500 a month because I have shit credit and I have a 10% loan or 11% loan. You can't even do that anymore simply because the insurance is so high that if you try to buy one of those cars and it's like $1,500 a month, your insurance is going to be $600 or $700 a month. Most people can't afford that. Or most people who would afford that, they'd rather spend that on a Mercedes. And I don't blame them. A E-Class, a C-Class, a CLA, a CLS. You could buy one of those cars cheaper than you could buy one of these damn Dodges. So Stellantis has basically killed Dodge. They are about to sell off Chrysler. I saw that coming because they ruined Chrysler. Chrysler has nothing but like the Pacifica minivan. That woman that they have, her last name is Fuel. I don't know where she got that last name from. Her last name is Fuel. She oversaw the death of Chrysler. Now, Tim Kuniskis has left Dodge for whatever reason. Some people speculate, he argued with the top people. Some people speculate that, it was just his time. He'd been there for like 30 years or whatever. Bottom line is they're replacing him with Christine Fuel. And Christine Fuel is just going to oversee the death of Dodge. But the bottom line is this is a Dutch company. They've got too many brands. They've got a bunch of brands. They don't give a shit about these American cars. I believe that ultimately they are going to be satisfied being high-priced, low sales vehicles. They're going to treat it like it's a luxury car company, something like Maserati. You know, when Maserati moves 1,000 cars, they're clapping. You know, Dodge was moving way more cars than that. And the bottom line is, Stellantis, they just don't care. And I really believe that they first of all, they hate American cars, but on top of that, they don't give a shit about Chrysler and Dodge. They want to kill them off. Only this time when they kill them off, it'll be for good. Because without V8s and without specific standout vehicles, there's no reason for them to even exist. There's just no reason for them to exist. If they're not doing something different, there's no reason for them to exist. So making a car that looks like a 69 Dodge Charger and giving you a 4- or 2-door variant is lazy. But they don't care. Not having VA, oh yeah, well, they're going to make a twin turbo 6 and people are going to swap the engine out. How much money is it going to cost for you to find the Hellcat engine to swap out with a twin turbo 6, and you don't even realize whether or not you'd even be able to do that because of this new platform and its new design? The answer is that's probably not going to happen, and chances are you can't afford it. So the reality is, yeah, there may be like a couple of those television shows that try to do some shit like that, but I just don't see it happening. And even if they do it, it's like you're going to be stuck with a vehicle that's unbalanced, not designed to be what it is, and you're going to end up just like that Chrysler 300 Hellcat in the Bronx that crashed into the side of that gas truck with that young kid driving it. He killed an even younger girl who was in the car with him. You know what I'm talking about because I reported on it a long time ago. But you don't want that, because the reality is it's like it'll never work properly. It's unbalanced, and it'll be unsafe for you to drive. So the average person can't even hope to afford that. So the used car market is going to be a mess because you're going to have a lot of these old Chargers being turned in. Because the bottom line is, Stellantis is telling you, this is the future. Now, you could stick with the older car, which you probably can't afford because the insurance is high, the gas price is high, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to be stuck with an old-ass car that's falling apart. And anytime you need repairs done on one of those cars, guess who you got to take it to? You got to take it to Stellantis. So if you don't have those extended Mopar warranties, you're going to be paying up the ass just to fix that piece of shit. So it's never going to work. And then you're going to be stuck driving something old. Nobody wants to be stuck driving something old. Yeah, everybody likes the idea of having a classic car, but these are not classic cars. These things are plastic and cheap metal. These things are not classics. When you go to Mopar Fest and you see those old AMC Gremlins and you see those old Demons and you see those old 69, 70 Chargers, yeah, those are classic cars. When you see those old Chevelles and you see those old Boss Mustangs, it's like those are classics. This shit that they're making now, this stuff is designed to be recycled. They make this stuff out of recycled plastic bottles that they fish out of the sea. Most of the interiors are recycled fucking plastic bottles. The metals are coming from China. And that's only because they stole that metal out of American houses. When they go in there, they steal the copper pipes and they steal all the shit out of there, and then they ship it to China, and then China turns it into electric vehicles, and then they ship it back here. So it's like all this stuff is recycled. It's like this is not classic anything. Anybody who thinks that they're buying a Demon 170 and that they're going to keep it, it's going to appreciate in value, I don't think you're going to live that long. Look how long it took for 69 Charger to be what it is now. It's like it's just not going to happen. You're buying cheap plastic, and it just sucks. It's not good. But that is what it is. So that's all I had to say. I just had to do a little bit of rant. I drove that Tesla Cybertruck. I got to upload that video like right now. It felt like driving a toy, honestly. The squircle steering wheel, that shit didn't even feel like a substantial it didn't feel like a real car. It really felt almost like I was a kid and I was driving one of those cheap-ass electric toy cars that you get from Costco for your child that looks like you buy one of those cheap toy cars that looks like a Hummer. And it really, like, everything about that car, it just felt like I was driving it felt like I was a big kid driving a toy. So, I'm going to withhold my final opinions about the Dodge Charger EV until I actually drive it. But, I'm okay with electric vehicles, but a lot of other people aren't. And I really think Stellantis has ruined I think that Stellantis is going to kill themselves over this, basically. That's just how I feel.